Welcome back, Mando.
Oh, greetings, Bucketheads. Mavar Tagar. Welcome to another exciting Bantha Tracks bonus show. And again, still not the one I have planned to release for you guys this week. But things keep happening in the Star Wars universe, and we're here to discuss it. This week, of course, I am referring to the release of the Maul trailer. I already forgot the name of the show, and I just rewatched the thing. Shadow Lord. Maul. Shadow Lord. The trailer is out. It's pretty darn awesome, and I wanted to talk to you guys about some of the stuff that we got to see in it and stoke the fires for all of our excitement. Hey, you know what? Make sure you're following me on the socials. Mando_Vision on Twitter /X and Insta. MandoVision at Blue Sky. And, of course, you can email the show at mandovisiontom@gmail.com. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, following, and sharing the show with all the Mandalorians in your covert. It's Friday, Bucketheads. We're doing this bonus show after I got home from work, so it is a little bit later in the day. If you are one of the fortunate ones who works that Monday through Friday life, I hope you are kicking off your weekend in style, having some fun, and getting cozy with not having to work for the next couple of days. If you're like me and you got some work this weekend to do, well, hey, more power to us, I suppose, and we'll get our days off down the road. All right, let's talk about Maul, Shadow Lord, but we got to do something first, and you know what that is. It's time. Strap on your buckets. Let's go.
Get out of here. We'll hold them off. You're going to have to relocate the covert. This is the way. This is the way.
All right, Bucketheads. Yes, it's out. The Maul Shadow Lord trailer dropped just the other day, and I have, like many of you, consumed it multiple times. I found the trailer to be stunning. I think it's visually exciting, has a lot of great little teases in it for this new side of the galaxy. Now, again, we're in a familiar timeline because we're sort of, I think I would imagine we're sort of in the time of the Bad Batch, right? You know, the Empire's formed. Maul is beginning his criminal enterprises after the Empire's taken power, after he's gotten away from the clones in Order 66 at the end of Clone Wars Season 7. And again, we're in the dark times, right? We're in that period between episodes 3 and episodes 4. But early in it, like I said, like around the Bad Batch time. I guess we'll find out if those things sync up at a certain point a little bit more, maybe once we get into the show. And it's dropping on April 6th, so we're not too far away from getting to see the series. One of the things that definitely caught my attention was the animation. I think it's stunning. I think it looks utterly fantastic. It just seems as with every Star Wars animated show, the evolution of the art style is just fantastic. The animation looks so good. There's a sort of a special fluidity to it in this trailer that looks just breathtaking. And it looks like we're going to see some things that we haven't necessarily seen before in regards to the palette being darker, the tone of the show being darker. Because, again, we're following a Sith Lord, former Sith Lord, depending on how you want to look at it. And so it makes sense that we're going to have that darker palette for the show. And they let you know, by the end of this trailer, they let you know this is not going to be like Clone Wars, like Rebels, like Bad Batch. This is a show that's following the bad guy. And whether you feel for Maul and his plight, it doesn't change the fact that he's still the bad guy. There's so much that teases us in this trailer. Getting our first taste of everything, and there's glimpses of a lot of things in here, and not all of it. I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much on certain things because I feel like we can go down that a slippery slope, if you will. But I think we know already that a lot of this series is taking place on a new world, a world we haven't been to. And while I think a lot of us maybe thought that visually, the world is somewhat similar to Coruscant, it is not. It is a world named Janix, brand new world, and it's visually stunning, right? Like it's a city set within a crater. So it's going to have some opportunities for some really unique visuals. And it's going to be a new world for us to explore in the Star Wars galaxy, which I think is really, really cool. Another thing the trailer showed us was TK troopers, right? This is that evolution of the clone troopers into stormtroopers, right? This is taking that Ralph McQuarrie classic stormtrooper design and seeing it in play like we did in the Bad Batch. It's that sort of like Gen 1 of the non-clone stormtroopers, right? So these are the ones trained by the clones to basically replace the clones. And again, this is that classic Ralph McQuarrie design. So again, very, very visual. I love the visual references. You guys know what a big fan I am of it when we reference those Ralph McQuarrie concept designs, because they're so fundamental to the world building that became the Star Wars galaxy. So I've loved the incorporation of them since they made their debut in the Bad Batch. Love to see that that's still what's going on here. And again, it's a little bit more evidence that we are sort of running concurrently with the Bad Batch in that timeline. So great to see that. And then obviously we tease. I'm sort of curious about Maul's little tea party that he's having for himself. I would love to know a little bit more of the context on that scene. I don't want to speculate too much. Perhaps he's trying to woo someone to his side, to supporting his cause, to supporting his criminal ventures. It's hard to say for sure. But Maul's not the only person that we see. There are some new characters. A young Twi'lek by the name of Devin Izara, who will be voiced by Gideon Adlon. And of course, in case I didn't mention it, which I don't think I did, Sam Witwer is, of course, returning to be Darth Maul. To be Maul. He's not Darth anymore. I just have it. Sorry about that, friends. But yeah, a pink-skinned Twi'lek Jedi named Devin Izara. And obviously this is the dark time of the Jedi, so Devin is on the run with her master, who is Iko Diodaki, who will be voiced by Dennis Haysbert. That's right, Pedro Serrano himself, also of Geico fame, will be the voice of these Jedi on the run. So we're going to have a lot of different elements in the story, and I think we can only imagine that Devin Izara will catch Maul's attention at some point, because like this guy loves getting apprentices. He likes to collect them. They're like Pokemon cards to him. So I can see that sort of going that direction. His pursuit of this young Jedi to aid him so he can sort of corrupt and bring to the dark side to help support his evil machinations and the criminal empire that he's going to attempt to build here. There's been some online speculation that I think is pretty wild regarding this character, and I'm just gonna put my opinion out there, because the online community really seems to enjoy the idea that with this pink-skinned Twi'lek, they're gonna go the route of canonizing the character known as Darth Talon. Now, Darth Talon is a great character, a Twi'lek Sith from the Star Wars Legacy comics, which are set 150 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. It's a fantastic series. If you've not dipped your toe into the Legacy waters, I highly recommend tracking down the series. They're easy to find digitally, a lot harder to find in print. I don't think Marvel has reprinted them in quite some time. But getting them digitally is very, very easy thing to do. And I do highly recommend it because it is a really fun comic series and turns a lot of our Star Wars notions on its head a little bit by sort of flipping the deck in a new way, because the alliances, the factions, all of it are so different, but so familiar at the same time. But yes, the online community is really lashed onto this idea that they're teasing the eventual, like I said, canonization of Darth Talon. A great, great character. And if nothing else, Google Darth Talon so you can get the visual, because it is a visually stunning character. I remember in the days, I think it was like 2007-ish, when Dark Horse started teasing this comic book series. and they did so by releasing an image of Darth Talon. A striking image. Again, a red-skinned, Twi'lek female with Sith tattoos, Maul-like tattoos all over her body. And, of course, a red lightsaber. Visually arresting image. And instantly captivated the minds and hearts of the Star Wars fans of the Dark Horse comics at the time. I don't think that's going to happen. This is sort of my take on it. I don't think that's the route they will take. But, again, not having seen the show just yet, anything's possible. Maybe I'll be wrong on that, and you guys can put a pin in this episode, write it down, jot down that date, put it on your list of things that Tom has gotten wrong, and let me know about it down the road when you're like, ha ha. So, hey, it could happen. Another character we got a glimpse of in the trailer is a familiar purple-haired Mandalorian blasting away with their wrist-mounted flamethrower. This would be Rook Kast, who we got a glimpse of, I believe, at the end of Season 7. That was when they were initially canonized. But if you had read that Maul comic that I told you about, Son of Dathomir, that had adapted the unproduced Clone Wars story where the Mandalorians who are loyal to Maul break him out of the prison that Palpatine puts him in, you would know Rook Kast from that comic. But they did canonize her briefly in Season 7 of Clone Wars. Bo-Katan defeats her in combat and I believe arrests her. It looks like she's back in Maul's service. And she'll be voiced by Rebels alumni Vanessa Marshall. So how cool is that? We're connecting some dots on these things. But always great when you get to incorporate a Mandalorian, and a Mandalorian who's like on the other side of things. You know, I haven't talked about it too much in the main podcast about how with shows like, you know, kind of starting with Rebels, but then going into the Mandalorian, how we've sort of had to recontextualize a lot of us older fans have had to recontextualize our preconceived notions of who and what the Mandalorians are. And I think a lot of us liked Boba Fett better when he was like living in the gray, as opposed to sort of where he is now. But again, I like seeing a Mandalorian who's on the other side of things, who's on that darker side, who is following a different path and kind of being the bad guy here. You know, we were all captivated and mystified by Boba Fett, but Boba Fett was a villain. Boba Fett was a bad guy in Empire Strikes Back. He captures Han Solo. He puts him in carbonite. He takes him to Jabba the Hutt. Give me a bounty hunter. I'm sorry, not a bounty hunter, a Mandalorian who's kind of on that same trajectory. Bring back that mystery of their motives and why they're doing what they're doing. I'm all in. Let's make that happen. And then, of course, the big thing in the trailer, Maul versus the Inquisitors. I think that's one of the most captivating parts of the trailer. We see some familiar faces from the Inquisitores. We see 11th Brother and his familiar bird mask. You might remember him from Tales of the Empire and Tales of the Jedi. He is the Inquisitor that Ahsoka defeats while she's in hiding and takes his kyber crystals and sort of purges the Sith out of them to forge her new lightsabers. But more importantly, well, potentially most importantly, it's hard to say for sure, but Marok is also in this trailer, who you will remember from Ahsoka Season 1. Specifically from the trailer of Ahsoka Season 1, where everyone lost their darn minds over who was his character, who's under the mask, all these different things. And then Marok was promptly killed off in Season 1 of Ahsoka with no answers to any of these questions. Maybe we'll get into that more now that we're going to see some of his backstory as part of the Inquisitors before he was, and maybe we'll get to find out how he ends up where he ends up in Ahsoka. I don't know. I would expect not. But again, we are at a period where the Inquisitores is one of Palpatine's main weapons against the surviving Jedi. So it makes sense that Maul would come to their attention as well. Again, we've seen Maul. I do believe we've seen Maul square off against Inquisitors in Rebels. But yes, we have. 100% we have. But still, very exciting to see this. And hopefully we flesh out those two Inquisitors a little bit more, because they are visually interesting characters. And it'd be nice to know a little bit more about their backstories to kind of help support that cool visual by giving them a cool backstory. And again, maybe we find out what's under Maruk's helmet. Maybe we don't. Who's to say? But that does lead me to my favorite part of the trailer. And I'm sure it's everyone's favorite part of the trailer. The amount of excellent lightsaber combat. Lots of good lightsabering in this trailer. From Maul walking down the ramp of that ship and kind of going Phantom Menace, where he only engages a single side of the blade first before engaging the double side, and then just deflecting blaster bolts back at the people attacking him. Ooh, it's so good. And then the next step, even better. Seeing it'd be teased cuts of a lightsaber duel against Maruk, and Maul just letting that blade fly and cutting through several stormtroopers. And again, they don't pull the camera back. The blade bisects several stormtroopers. This is awesome. This is the tone of the show that I want to be part of. I want this to be every episode. We need to see Maul doing these things, being that guy. You know, it's not that we need graphic violence, but we do need to see that Maul is the bad guy still. Again, but he's also the bad guy we kind of root for, right? At least I feel like that's what he's kind of pivoting to at this point. We'll see. Maybe they change that. Maybe he is more adversarial with these Jedi on the run, and he does despicable things that we can't root for and can't support. But this trailer makes it feel very much like we are rooting for Maul in the show, and that is an interesting pivot as well. So while he will never be the hero, will Maul be the anti-hero? Will he be some sort of protagonist that we do end up cheering for in this series? Much like the way Predator Badlands sort of inverted that dynamic by giving us a Predator that we root for as well. Hard to say. Not that those two characters are I still feel like that's an apples and oranges comparison. But we'll see what the pivot is. Again, April 6th is when this show drops. And I suspect it will also be weekly. And so it will be a show that we talk about weekly on this podcast. So, exciting things to look forward to. A lot coming up on our podcast as we sort of count down to April 6th, where we get to focus on the Maul show for a little while. I'm delighted to get to do that with you guys. So, this bonus episode, for a trailer that was less than 2 minutes, I talked a lot more than I expected to about it. But good stuff. I'm excited. I know that you're excited, and I can't wait for April 6th to get here so that we can watch it and talk about it together. It's going to be a good time. All right, Bucketheads. Like I said, it's Friday afternoon where I am. You may not listen to this on Friday, but if you listen to it on your Saturday, hey, have a great weekend. And if you're not there yet, hold tight. You're going to get to your weekend soon, friends. I'm right behind you, getting there as well. Go out there. Be great Star Wars fans, kind, supportive, respectful, understanding, tolerant, and patient with each other. Because we're all going to have different ideas and opinions, and we got to respect those and support those and be okay with them, even if they're completely crazy, and that's okay. Follow me on the socials, Mando_Vision on X and Insta, Mando Vision at Blue Sky, and you can email me, mandovisiontom@gmail.com. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share this show with all the Mandalorians in your covert. All right? And hey, if you can, 5-star reviews. They're the best. I thank you guys so much for taking the time to do that and continuing to support this show. I would not be here without you all. You are the best. Buckethead Nation continues to grow and thrive, and we are strong and mighty and awesome. And again, I can't do this without you. Thank you. All right. We'll be back next week with another exciting Star Wars Rebels rewatch episode. We're counting down to the final episode of the series. Hope you're here for that. I'll talk to you soon. Go out there again. Go have a great weekend. And remember, this podcast, it only ends one way, my friends. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
You expect me to search the galaxy for the home of this creature and deliver it to a race of enemy sorcerers?
This is the way.
I will start my operations here and pull the rebels apart piece by piece. They'll be the architects of their own destruction.
Purple guy. Mando girl, and Ezra Bridger. My, look how you have grown.
Admiral, we have enemy ships in Sector 47.
It's a trap!